Hi, this is Paul from User Words Podcast. Today is going to be a little more of a personal talk about mental health and depression. May is Mental Health Month. And before we get started, we want to just say that that's what we will be covering in this episode. If you or someone you know is dealing with mental health issues such as depression or suicidal, please reach out. Please help them reach out. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is available at suicidepreventionlifeline.org at 1-800-273-8255. That is available via phone call or through their website through web chat. It is available 24/7. It is free and confidential. If you are someone who is helping someone going through this, please go to the website as well, because there is some sites on some data on there for you to learn how to help people who are going through suicidal thoughts, who are going through depression as well. Again, that number is 1-800-273-8255, and the website is suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
I met Josh through Aaron, actually, because those two had been friends since, high school? Younger?
I mean, middle school, I think. I think we originally met through church.
Well, actually, yeah, we knew each other at church, since kindergarten.
Yes,
for
yes,
sure.
yes.
Well, you went to school with me in kindergarten, then left, I don't know, man. You just left.
I left. I just...
You packed your bags and went on the journey?
Yeah.
Thought you were Bilbo Baggins?
Thought he was... Spot the height. I forget I said that.
You forgot you said that about the height?
Yeah.
Yes, you did, sir. Yes, you did. I had to go back and I was like, where is that? I know I have it. It's not in my stream deck. I need to pull it out. So, because I didn't have time last week to create a new intro because I was out in Seattle all week doing work fun stuff.
Work, quote unquote.
Hey, conferences work.
Work and fun don't necessarily go in the same sentence.
Hey, when you get to go to a conference, you get to speak at a conference with something completely new. That is fun.
Yeah.
True.
So it was beautiful. It was sunny out there the entire time. No rain. Upper 60s, low 70s. I just enjoyed the weather. Sun. And I saw that you guys had rain.
Lots of it too.
And I laughed at your misfortune every day.
And basically snow.
Yeah.
Although today we have plenty of sunshine.
Well,
sunshine.
There you go.
Well, I'm glad we have some sunshine today. It is May the 4th, so may the 4th be with you.
I think my favorite thing about today is watching everybody prep their toys for the summer. So people are popping open their campers, cleaning them out, taking tarps off their boats, loading them up, cleaning off their bikes.
So how's your bike cleaning going?
This is all
it's going to happen after this.
Okay.
Maybe.
If we have enough time, we should.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And how's your camper prep going as well?
Alex is currently in it right now. He found out that there is a wiring issue. But like anything, that's not difficult.
You don't say. At that cheap of a price, there's something wrong with it.
Well, I had to fix Pastor Dave's trailer before I took it.
What?
Yeah. His ground wire was completely sheared off the trailer from the connector to the trailer, so I had to wire in a new harness.
Doesn't surprise me.
You got it working. You got your bike down to Florida.
Last thing I wanted to do was get arrested in Georgia for having taillights flickering and not staying on. I don't want to see
what?
Yeah, that's what the trailer was doing. The lights were flickering. Every single time you would hit a bump, it was hopping off the hitch. So it was losing its ground because it was grounding through the hitch to the truck.
I don't care about that part.
Why were you afraid of getting arrested?
Yeah.
You have a warrant down in Georgia or something that we don't know about?
Yeah. Tell me about this.
You don't have a warrant down in Georgia that we don't know about?
Oh, I definitely do not.
We don't know everything.
I've never been to Georgia. So.
Oh, no, I was just saying that.
The devil's been down to Georgia.
Nice.
No, I was just referencing somebody who got a super speeder ticket down in Georgia.
Yeah, the enforcer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, let's just... Did she drive through Georgia? She drove through part of Georgia.
She drove through Georgia even though she had her super speeder ticket before.
Yeah.
See, that's the one time you don't want super attached to anything that you do.
Nope.
Is a speeding ticket.
No.
It's like
Even though it wasn't that bad anyway.
When you get a $250 ticket,
Well, no,
and
I'm
then you
saying
get
that
another
her-
$250 ticket.
Yeah. No, I'm saying for how fast she was going, that shouldn't be considered super speeding.
Yeah, I guess.
Seems a little excessive.
It does.
It can be whatever.
Especially if you're following traffic.
Yeah, true. And man, it seems like forever since we've actually sat down around the table again. You know, it's funny because it's only been 2 weeks. You know, we only did 2 weeks of pre-record.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
It has been. You know,
I was like, it's only been a week.
no, we had 2 weeks off there.
Wow.
So but it feels like forever because we've kind of all been on separate little trips, either for, like I said, for work, for me, for fun for Josh, or for personal introspection and fun for Aaron.
For me.
Yep.
That was fun. It was a good time. I like lacrosse.
Good. Did you pick up any new knowledge while out there?
Did I pick up?
Any new numbers?
Definitely not.
He picked up the numbers of some guitars and how much they cost.
I did pick up that. Wow. Actually, I guess his number's on this card, but this guy that was singing at this bar that the friends and I went to one Saturday night,
Yeah.
I took his business card and had his number on it, so I guess I did get a number. I just don't know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm asking if you picked up any knowledge because you're gonna need it.
What? Oh, no.
Here's Aaron's word of the week.
Oh, no.
That's why you're gonna need it.
I did not pick up any knowledge for this kind of stuff.
Okay.
In all honesty, you could probably never attain enough knowledge to prepare for something that Paul could throw at you. You could look at you could learn every single word in the dictionary, and he would find one word not in it.
I mean, I have my own language. I make up my own words.
Well, this is a word. It didn't even exist in the English language until after you were born. So you're older than this word.
Whoa!
So
that's kind of cool.
All right.
Oh no!
I don't even know how to pronounce this. This is how I would pronounce it. I would pronounce it seriology. But here, I'll play it for you.
Seriology.
Oh, I was right.
Seriology.
Seriology.
Yeah, so what is seriology, sir?
It's the study of all cereals.
That's good.
And the differences between them and all that, you know, just,
That's a good guess.
Sick. What is it really?
It's the study.
Hey, I got the study
of crop circles.
Oh! Hey, crops are in cereal, right? There's wheat.
Grains and oats.
Yeah.
I'm almost
so
there.
you were in the area. You were in the area.
I'm shooting in the ballpark.
Yeah, so seriology, the study of crop circles.
Study of crop circles.
Yeah.
Kind of sounds like fun.
Hey.
I could get into that.
There you go. You could be one of those wackos on the History Channel. I was abducted and probed by an alien for hours.
I got the scars to prove it.
And I didn't like it.
Or did I?
Ba, ba, ba.
Just kidding. I wouldn't like that.
No, I don't think you would.
I
just have a feeling you wouldn't, sir.
Too many X-File episodes, and I don't.
What? What's going on, Josh, here?
Why
can't tomorrow just be a day without rain?
Oh my gosh. Because that's how.
So this is
Mother
being
Nature.
recorded May the 4th. Joshy Boy wants to go on a little bike trip on May the 5th.
Yeah.
And he's being sad and pouty now because there's rain.
Yep. I mean, you could just put on a rain suit and call it good.
I don't have one.
If only there's a thing called a store that you could go to buy things.
Right. You could get something like just rain resistant.
Pit stop.
Okay. You know what? We'll let Josh figure out what he's doing on his own because, wow, I think he's going to be lost again on the weeds. Please don't be lost on the weeds again, Joshy boy.
For a second, I don't know. I totally was mishearing what you were saying at first.
Yeah.
I was not expecting you to say that.
What do you think I
don't know. I thought you were going to be saying he's going to be lost in, no, you said lost in the weeds.
Yeah.
I guess I was just thinking of a different kind.
Different kind of weed?
Yeah. He's going to be lost mentally.
And you
because of the weed.
You have that type of weed, you can get lost mentally, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
speaking of mental stuff.
Yeah, speaking of mental stuff. Oh, good transition, because you are a pro, sir. Thanks. We'll get there in a second.
Okay.
Yes, I knew where you were going. You jumped ahead just a second, and that's kind of my fault. I didn't have a chance since I was out in Seattle this week to throw out a rundown because I was busy. I was speaking at a conference, so
yeah.
I had a little bit more on my mind than I need to write a rundown.
This needs to be your number one priority in life.
Well, as soon as this starts paying my bills, then yes.
Okay.
That'd
be cool.
If this paid my bills, then yes.
Fair enough.
But
I'll join you.
But right now, my number one priority is the thing that pays my bills, and the thing that took me out to Seattle, which was to speak at a conference. So I had to take care of that sort of stuff first while I was out there.
He's like giving you like the parent talk right now.
You know what?
That's what it sounds like.
Josh,
keep going, Paul.
Oh, do you want me to switch to you and give you the parent talk?
Hey, man, he's the one that's...
Because I could switch over to you. Don't worry. I have things that I can trigger in on right now. And so
do it.
Behave.
Do it.
You smack your lips, I will do it. But before we get there, and I know what you're going to transition to, I just want to say officially, as of right now, as of 2:54 p.m., May the 4th, we're at 1,035 downloads. So, and that's unique downloads. So,
and Aaron is dabbing. That's why he's saying thank you.
So thank you very much, everyone who has downloaded. So I spent 5 hours on the plane yesterday figuring out how I was going to set this up without having to bring in another person basically to run all the camera stuff.
Hot diggity dang.
Because if it got too complex, I'd have to bring in a person just for the producer role. And we could do that, but then that's another person's schedule to juggle.
Right. This is true. Well, just, you know what? We'll teach Amy how to do this stuff, and then she'll do it.
You could try.
I love how you go, you could try, but then we have to go around her work schedule. And
well, she's normally not busy today when we record.
Yeah, but one of those days when we have to flip to Saturdays because of other things, and
she'll be fine.
So that's what I'm trying to do without the producer type thing. But
that makes a lot of sense.
So that's why it's like the little thing I found yesterday for like $200 was perfect, but I also would need someone on the phone constantly flipping the camera back and forth. So it worked, but it wouldn't work.
Gotcha.
You know, if we had a dedicated person to do that, then okay. And
right.
I'm already monitoring recordings and everything else. I can't also monitor a camera and talk at the same time.
What?
Otherwise, you'll hear me go flip left, flip right, flip left, flip right, flip left. You'll be like, what is going on over there?
What?
So, yes. So my mental capacity only works so far. And otherwise, life goes crazy. But as Aaron was trying to jump to earlier to kind of jump ahead on where we're going, talking about mental crazy people and mental gymnastics, period. May is Mental Health Month.
Yeah.
So, today is May the 4th. Everyone's celebrating, and
Star Wars.
There's a lot of people sad because the actor who played Chewbacca just died. So, was that Thursday or Friday he died?
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
I think it was Thursday, if I remember right.
I
think it was Thursday. Because I think I was out in the pub crawl for the conference when that news.
Because I think I noticed it Friday, but I mean.
So yeah, it was Thursday.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people are both sad and remembering and all that. But it's also, it's weird how, like, there's all these, it's National Whatever Month. It's National Whatever Month. And, like, every month seems to be a national something month.
It's always changing, it seems like, except for some of the big ones, I guess.
Yeah. Like, Black History Month isn't going to be changing anytime soon.
Oh, no.
That's always going to be February, and that's good.
Right.
So May is National Mental Health Month.
I wonder why.
I don't know. There might be a reason. And what that reason is, I don't know. And I could take a guess, the symbolicness of it being spring, and hope springs eternal with spring, and a new chance, a new life, a new beginning, new.
So lovely.
Yeah,
That'd been my guess.
everything's, we're starting to move from that cloudy gray area with snow, since we had snow when I left out to Seattle last week. I had snow last Sunday. Come on, Wisconsin, get it together.
Right.
We're moving from that kind of dreary time into more hopefully sunny times. Times when it's not as bad.
Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Although the snow is pretty at times.
The first snow is pretty, and then after
in all the ugliness, there's still beauty.
Yes,
as poetry. There, use that line now.
Who says that winter has to be ugly? What if some people love winter? And it's so
well, when you got cars driving down a road and the white snow goes from white to black slush and a salty mess, I'd call that ugly. But when it's falling and it's sticking to the trees, I'd call that pretty. And when you're doing donuts in it, I call that beautiful.
Thank you for the analysis, Josh. What makes winter beautiful? What makes winter not so beautiful? So this was the one time that I kind of hijacked the schedule and didn't give Aaron or Josh kind of any say for this month. And I told them it would be just for this year, the first year. It wouldn't be. We're not going to do this every year because
why not?
And if you want to, we can. But I mean, one part of it we might do every year. But I mean, otherwise it'd get tedious every year.
Would it?
Yes.
Would it?
Yes. Unless something major happened, then yes, it would. So next week, I believe the conversation is kind of how the church has failed, helping people who are dealing with mental illnesses. And mental illnesses is a wide range of things because that can be anything from depression, bipolar, multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, any of those things. So that's a wide selection of things. And then we need to talk about the other thing that's happening in May. So,
yeah. Hello, I'm on the same page.
And Josh is
not, even though we just talked about it.
I know.
Oh, the Knights of the Oval.
What?
The Oval Office. Yep.
No. That's taken, but not the Knights of the Oval.
Okay.
Are we at a circle or are we at an oval? Oh, it's not really
even
an oval.
None. This is technically
this looks like a surfboard.
Okay, let's move on because
does not.
First off, you know what, Aaron?
What?
When we're done with this, take a picture of this and send it out on Instagram and ask people what they think it is.
What, is this a circle or an oval, guys?
Yeah.
Or a surfboard.
It's still not a surfboard.
Put a fin on it is a surfboard.
No.
No. It's the most blunt surfboard I've ever seen. It also wouldn't float.
Do we know that?
Oh, my God. Going on.
Let's go in shark-infested waters and put Aaron on it and see what happens.
No. If you're asking, that means you get duct tape to it. You get covered in blood. Ooh. And then we put you upside down in the water, see how long it stays upside down.
Whoa. The blood was never even in the equation in the first place.
Well, because if it's a surfboard, then it should stay like that and be fine.
But where did the blood come from? The blood is just asking for the surfboard to get chopped into pieces, along with who's ever on it.
It just adds more fun for me.
Got him. That's what you get for volunteering me at first.
If we are ever close to being the last few people on the planet, please let me use your gun.
No.
Because Paul will make it slow on people.
I'm going to be out of ammo, bruh.
Me and him will have an alliance.
Huzzah. Dude, I haven't used that word in so long.
What?
Huzzah.
Yeah, you haven't.
Dude, that's coming back.
There's his word.
Hey, you know what? I'll take it. But today we're going to. It's a little bit different of a conversation, and the idea for this one. See here how to say this. It came about because of the fact that there's a lot of stigmatism around mental illness in public. I don't know if you've noticed that as much as maybe I have.
Probably not.
Yeah. It seems one of those things where, someone's maybe having a bad day and people are just like, you know what, get over it. What's your problem? Get over it. Just
roll with the punches.
Well,
suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah, suck it up, buttercup. There comes a time when you have to roll with the punches because you can't blame everything on a mental illness. It comes to a certain point where you got to say, I got to take responsibility for what I've still done here. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And like I said, next week we're going to do the whole thing about how the church has maybe not done the best thing to interact with and help people that have mental health issues. We're going to try to do a roundtable of sorts with people who maybe have some mental health issues, and then also the people that support them and come through the whole process there. And so that's going to be towards the end of the month. Some things might get rescheduled or rearranged, just depending on a few things here. But what I thought is, because I see a lot of that stigmatism against kind of mental health, where a lot of people just kind of hide, I guess, what that looks like for them, what that means for them. I don't know if you saw this on Facebook going around, probably late last week, early this week. It was take one of your photos, on Facebook, and it was just like this little challenge, quote unquote, that goes around on Facebook, where you go and take a photo where something bad was happening, but you posted a picture and made it sound pretty and sound good. I don't know if you saw anything about that.
No.
So I saw that, going around, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because we do that a lot. We use social media to make everything look good, no matter what.
Life's great. You should see how happy I'm doing. All the cool things that I'm doing.
The person who has maybe been, cutting themselves is, hiding their arm and taking a picture of them, like, oh, look, me in my flower bed.
Right.
Life is great.
Yeah.
And on the inside, they're dying.
Right.
Yeah. And that is unfortunately a reality that we're at. There's a lot of people that do that. And as you both know, for the longest time, well, more, I think you've known longer than I think Joshy Boy ever knew, that I was like that for the longest time. Because I think it took you by surprise, kind of, when I told you that I got back from the psychiatric hospital. Think back, Joshy.
I don't think it necessarily took me by surprise. I guess I'd say I've been someone who was kind of like a hypocrite when it came to the mental illness thing, because I didn't really know a whole lot about it, and I see that a lot of people would be struggling. This is something you don't know about. Now you're about to know.
Okay.
I always figure that people with who struggled with depression to some form was kind of like a suck it up buttercup kind of thing. It's like almost there are certain people, not you, but they almost seem to try to milk everything they could. And to me, it was more of like willpower. Is it something that's actually wrong, or is it the lack of a willpower in someone's own self? And at the time, me also being somebody who has, I don't even know if I want to call it ADD anymore, because I've had some people tell me that ADD is there's no such thing as ADD. It's just a mind's rapid response to things around them.
Mm-hmm.
And being, diagnosed with ADD or ADHD, as some people would say, I probably have it. My mind just bounces between thoughts. So another thing I think a lot of people have a hard time is, where do you draw that line to call it a mental illness or a mental disorder, whatever you so choose to call it, and where do you call it, draw the line and say it's normal? Because if in America it seems like here we go again.
No, go on. I want to hear.
Not everybody has access to health. Not everybody has access to a lot of stuff, and those people go unchecked. We don't know. Joe Blow might not have the funds to buy a health insurance that allows him to check to see if he struggles with some form of depression or anxiety, or maybe what's it called when you have multiple personality disorder.
Yeah.
Joe Blow might not even be able to see if he has a slight chance of that, but he can still go in and he can buy a gun. Now, where I'm going with that is the fact of not everybody could know exactly how strong they are mentally. And as I've been doing some research into some different things when it comes to struggles, and seeing how much the brain actually is responsible for, as you would so call, an addiction, and learning more of how the brain will, in a sense, work and respond to things, and how it's just interesting. I'm getting very intrigued with how the brain works, and just how it gets hooked at things. On the same side, it's also allowed me to understand that, hey, it can get hooked. It can also be not exactly right. So it can produce too much of stuff and too little of stuff. And, for months, I've been, out of a spot of suck it up buttercup. It's actually a thing. It's actually something that can be genetic, and it's something that is out of control for some people.
Yep.
And it's just, I'm just recently with that in the last 2 months, I'm just starting to really see it, and you're like, oh, not that it was like something that I was struggling with thinking about before. It's just becoming even more prevalent to my eyes and stuff as I've been doing some digging into stuff like that. But like I was saying, is I think big thing is everybody sees it as an illness, as a disorder, but it might be more common than what people think. And even with the whole thing, just kind of like a parallel side here, sins. The sins in the church. When somebody says they have a sexual sin or they have an addiction of some sort, everybody in the church goes, but chances are there's probably 5, 10, maybe 15, 20, depending on how many people are at the church, doing the exact same thing. But everybody sees it as something bad because nobody speaks up about it, because everybody thinks they're the only person doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And they see how everybody responds when one person comes out about it, and then everybody freaks out. And that makes them not want to come out. So in a sense, depression, ADHD, anxiety, multiple personality disorder, that could be more prevalent in more humans than science even realizes. But yeah.
I was like, don't jump ahead too much. Save some of that for next week.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things that, and I know I've said this many times. It's one of those things where I would not wish it on my worst enemy ever. Period. It could be the person in death row. I would still say I do not wish it on them, because this thing sucks.
And it's always hard to be in a spot where you literally, because as humans, we're told that we have a right to control everything. We have a right to control our future. And even as Christians, with believing in the absolute truth and understanding that we don't need to have control over everything. We don't need it. And anybody who believes in any sort of absolute truth will understand that. And I'm speaking absolute truth of, religiously speaking. And somebody could believe in absolute truth of working out. Like you can't do something with your body, even though you might want to get to a certain point with your body, you just can't do it. And most people are like, all right, I can't do it. I don't need to worry about it. But I think big thing is you're told that you have control over your own future, and yet at the same time you can't of certain things. And one of the things is a mental disorder. I totally don't know where I was going with that.
I was going to say, where are you going with that?
I don't know. I had it, and then I was like, here, a quick branch here to do a parallel thing, and then I just...
You lost it. Okay.
What were you saying again?
Okay, so let's pause and keep going here, because maybe you'll catch up when we keep going here. Now that Josh has a little tangent line here. Tangent with Josh one more time. No, mental illness is it's something that, and like I think I had on the schedule, this one be a more personal story type deal, and you both have. I think Aaron more so than Josh has walked along this journey with me, just because he's known about it, I think, a little bit longer than Josh. I think. I could be wrong, but...
No, you're about right. I've kind of always known, like I was saying, I mean...
So I'd fill you in.
Yeah, you would fill me in on various things. So I knew when you were at the hospital. If anything, I had a little bit more surprise with him. And I think that was a tipping stone right there for me is, and this is where I say, this is my mindset, an uneducated mindset. So,
okay,
don't take offense to this.
Okay.
But I did kind of have a thought of suck it up buttercup with you, especially especially when it came time, because I just never really understood, and I guess it's my fault and me being completely in the wrong, because you would always say that there'd be a certain time frame in your year that you would get sad. And I'm being completely honest here. I remember looking at Aaron and go, why? And Aaron was telling me, it's the loss of your father. And I'm thinking to myself, but that was so long ago. Yeah. Why is it still like what? So, and that's what I say is kind of like that suck it up buttercup thing mindset that I had at the time. So that's where that. And then when he told me you had to go to the hospital, I was like,
oh boy,
it's a little more serious.
Yeah, it's a little more intense.
So, but I will say that there was a huge change once they got you on this type of medication.
You become a huge
change.
You became a lot more uppity.
No, but one of the things I remember though is prior, because you were on medication prior to the hospital, right?
No,
you weren't.
I wasn't on anything.
Okay, I remember you started to become a very sharp. You were kind of the things you would say and things you would do were very like agitated. Really kind of like you almost wanted to get under someone's skin. No, some of the things you would say and how you would approach certain things. That's kind of how you would. And I remember at one point I'm just like, I think I looked at Aaron.
What was this?
This was before he got submitted to the hospital. This was a few months before.
I was thinking now.
I remember the enforcer looking at me and saying, "What? Why is Paul being such a jerk?" And since we've been, friends and stuff, it's unraveling this bigger picture on how it's so much intertwined.
Oh yeah,
and you could live your life without realizing it. And so it makes me think, what was it? My grandpa. Okay. Well, now some people, and I'm just saying, mental illnesses in general, you could almost live your life not even realizing.
I definitely realized it, but go on.
Now, yes, but like. Now, this isn't a mental illness, but this is something that impacted the brain. My grandpa, before he was diagnosed with cancer, became a very stubborn, very unpleasant to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that when I was a kid, and unfortunately, that is a memory I have of him. But it's not the memory that sticks out to me the most. They said that the reason why he became like that is because he had a brain tumor. It was a very big one at the back of the brain. And it's just crazy how much is entangled in itself. And how one little thing here can affect the outcome of this part of the body all the way over here.
Oh, yeah.
And since you've been on the pill, you have like night and day difference. Like he said, you're uppity.
I'm stuck up. Awesome.
Yeah. You know what that means, right?
No.
The actual definition. I didn't.
What's the actual?
We went over this the last recording session.
Yeah, it is. It's self-important or arrogant.
That's what uppity means. That's why I was kind of ribbing him because he said I was uppity, and I was like, "You're
okay,
uppity, Paul."
You have more energy. Your thought process. Your thought process is still dark. You can't shake that. But your thought process is
what?
Go on.
I want a camera, and I can see exactly what you say when I'm not looking. Anyways, it's just the pill that you're on has really changed who you are in a really good way. And like I was saying, some mental illnesses you could probably go your whole life not realize you have it, and then in some aspect. It depends on the severity.
I wouldn't say that. And here's why I wouldn't say that. So. Like, let's say it was depression, okay? What I deal with, you're going to know you have it. Yes. You can hide it very easily from others, and that is easy to do because what's the last thing I ever wanted, what really was for anyone to know that about me. So you put on the happiest face and whatever as best as you can out in public.
Mm-hmm.
When you're at home, though, the lights are off, there's no noise, you're laying in bed 24/7. It's not a question of do you know you're dealing with depression or not. You know. And if you have multiple personalities, obviously I don't have that, so I can't talk about that one, but I know some people who do. They know when, their alter egos come out. And they know it because when they're back in control, they don't remember what happened the past 3, 4, 5 hours.
Right.
This isn't something, like, do I maybe have, something that I can't, a tumor somewhere that I can't see because it's asymptomatic. Mental health, unfortunately, is very symptomatic right from the get-go. So, excuse me, just had a burp there. How you were saying how you couldn't understand, like, with my dad, dying and everything. I was 14. I held his hand as he passed away. That's something traumatic. That's something that's always kind of burned in my brain. And I see that. And I'm saying this now, and I'm not saying I took offense or anything. So don't take it as that. Don't take it as
you're just answering.
I'm just answering this. So don't take it as, oh, Paul's pissed at me right now because I said that. All good. So that is burned in my brain. And around that time, honestly, I still have nightmares with that. It still impacts me greatly, especially during the fall, between the time of his birthday and the day of his death. Every year. This past year was a lot better, obviously because I'm on meds now, And before then, it was kind of one of those things of, before I was admitted to the hospital, it was one of those things where I thought if I went and sought help, I was being weak, or I was being a bad Christian, or I wasn't trying hard enough. I wasn't doing the right things. I was like, well, if I'm sitting here trying to figure this out, trying to fight this, why the hell am I like this? For the week or two before I went to the hospital, I was suicidal. I was planning on overdosing, and I sat in my car hours at a time, so I had access to nothing. And I just sat in my car screaming and crying, not knowing what to do, And part of me, part of me wanted to reach out for help still, but there was that part of me was just, I couldn't because there was that shame associated with it. There was, I wouldn't say pride. There was that shame. Like if I reached out, that these people would think less of me. The logical part of my brain knew that wasn't true. The emotional part, though, was completely wrapped up in that lie. So, and this is why I say I wish this on no one, ever. How you were saying, like, well, suck it up, buttercup type deal, If I could have, man, I would have. I really would have. But there was a part of that damage, that emotional damage that was just so great that no matter what I tried to do, that wasn't happening, period. There's also part of that where, and now I realize this, because I went through the whole process and everything. There was nothing I could have done. I physically have a chemical imbalance in my brain.
Yeah.
Which I know you probably learned through some of your studies on that.
Oh, yeah. But it's also through you, too, that I've done that, too.
But, so I could have tried as much as I could, and then whatever I tried, nothing would have helped,
This period, you had a chemical imbalance that could not be reversed.
Right. And so I was technically, so what when I was taken into inpatient, it was major depressive disorder with suicidal tendencies. Ideation is what they call it. Tendencies, ideation. And, that's when they started me on my meds and got me kind of balanced out those first few weeks where I was on my meds, I could not stop moving. It was like a ridiculous brain stimulant. And it was bad. I needed meds to be able to fall asleep at night. My brain would just be so wired from these new meds. I was like, I couldn't sit still. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't. I needed meds to counteract the other meds so I could actually sleep at night. Now it's not as bad. And I can actually fall asleep typically without having to take the other meds. But, I had been dealing with this since I was 16 alone. I remember one year. So, we have the winter camp, snow camp every year. And one year, it would have been probably my junior year. Yeah, it would have been my junior year because my senior year is when I did my shoulder. So my junior year, I was this was February. So this is outside the time frame where I was normally having a bad time. And basically my goal was to go up to camp for whatever reason. I was going to go up to camp, come back home and end it all. That was the goal. Weird goal, I know. That's not a goal normal people have. I'm going to go to camp and then kill myself. What? That doesn't make sense. But I went. And I'll be honest, at that time, I really was not, I guess you could say, fitting in, interacting, had any really connection with any of the kids in the youth group. None at all. And I remember what kind of just broke me out of it, at least for that little bit. One guy, Nathaniel Brash, just coming up to me and saying, "Hey, what's up?" And that's how we became friends. And that's how we started chatting. And that steered me off of that course of just want to say, screw it all.
And that's why they say it's so important that if you have any suicidal thoughts or anything like that, to at least reach out to somebody.
But that's the hardest thing in the world, is to reach out, And so, so after that, that junior year of high school and that, I continued struggling with that every year. And it's been years. And, it took until, I was 34 to go and actually get help for once. And I remember sitting on Xbox chat with one Mr. Johnson. And he brought up the question. He's like, "Do you think maybe it's time you go and get help?" Do you remember that?
Yeah. Oh, I do.
I don't think Aaron really realizes how, as much as he might paint himself as a guy who just sticks back and is lazy, the amount of important things he has said or done in all of our lives, I don't think he realizes how much he's done.
I think we can all say that for each other.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
That's better.
But that includes you too, sir. That includes you in that list then too,
Yeah.
of things that you have done that's important for us.
Sure.
And so he asked me that, and I kind of avoided the question at first. At first.
And then he asked it again?
No, I finally got up the nerve myself to say, I think I need help, on chat. And I kind of left it at that, and he went into emotion. He didn't know what to do. And I don't fault him at that.
Right.
And how many people know what to do when that happens? That's a hard thing to know.
Well, is it we're barely trained on how to do CPR at school anymore?
Yeah.
Much less deal with something like that.
So I mean, I don't fault you at all, Aaron, for that. For not knowing what to do.
Oh, the main thing that I think I ended up at one point doing was talking to the Andy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's fine because you didn't know what to do, but you're like, I know someone who might have some better resources.
Right. Well,
and that's the right. And to be honest, that's the right thing to do. If you don't know what to do,
find someone that does know.
Find someone that either does know, whether that be another adult, someone who's gone through it before, a pastor, a teacher, someone in law enforcement, medical personnel.
Right.
And I'll say this, like if you, and this isn't, I'm saying you did anything wrong, but I'm just saying, like if you thought I was like in serious condition at that point, like you're like,
right.
Oh, I think he might do this like now over live.
That would have been.
At that point, you either call 911 on me or you drive me to the hospital. Because and this is back to something that Josh was saying. If someone is suicidal and you get them to the emergency room, they will commit them to a psychiatric hospital. They will get them the help.
Yeah.
So that is something that is helpful out there.
It's wild to think that somebody could want to take their own life. Like, it's one thing to say, I want to end it. I don't have to worry about this thing happening in my life. But it's another thing to go, I want to take my life. I know you've been in that spot before, Aaron. I've been in that spot before, too. To where you sit there and some traumatic thing has happened in your life and you just would rather be done with it. And you're like, I would rather be out of this world. I don't want to be alive anymore. But it's another thing to go to the thought process and step saying, I want to take my life. And we're not actually saying that. That's not actually us saying that.
Is it not? What is saying it?
The imbalance, this sin in the world, the temptation, the devil. Besides the next.
So, okay, when I was in that spot, it wasn't. This is what it was for me. I was tired. my soul was tired. I was physically tired. I was emotionally tired. I was beaten down. It felt like there was nothing to live for. It felt like no matter what, there was no light at the end of that tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more along the lines of, I just want to be done fighting. That's what I wanted. I wanted to say, I'm done fighting. I'm dead energy-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Why continue? And it's hard to describe that feeling to someone, who necessarily hasn't been there, because it's not something a normal person feels. It's not a normal thought process. I was watching a show. It's on Netflix. One Day at a Time. That's what it's called. One Day at a Time. It's a reboot of the original series. The original series ran in the 80s, and they rebooted it. And this new reboot follows, a Puerto Rican family. The mother was an Army vet, and she suffered with depression, and she was hiding it from her family, not doing anything. And one of the episodes that got me is she just started kind of, she was in one of her bad spots where she was just sitting in the room, laying down, lights closed, never getting out of bed, not even, barely going to work, excuse me. And she recorded some stuff, and she played that recording back for her friend in the show, and the guy's like, you realize this is not what a healthy brain goes to. A healthy brain does not go to, I don't want to be here anymore. A healthy brain does not say, life would be better if I was never here. Okay, yeah, sometimes we say that when we're in a situation where we're like, oh, this situation sucked. It'd be better if I wasn't, whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before. Yeah.
We do that once in a while. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
But this is when you are beyond just saying it for that situation, when it's where you feel that as true in your core, and that's a completely different feeling.
And it's not like I was trying to say anything.
I get it. Okay, and I'm not taking anything that either of you are saying as like, oh, you're just trying to make light of it or anything. Okay, it's not something that if you haven't gone through it, it's easy to understand. It's not something that I can easily just say, this is what it feels like. There was a YouTube video. It gave this video to who did I give it to? I think it was Peter, because he was trying to understand it, and it's called I believe it's called like The Black Dog. So if you want to ever see something like that, that's something that kind of tries to give that a feeling of what's like. And really what it comes down to is it's always going to be there. Like a dog is always following you around. It's how do you learn to live with it and not let it overshadow you? Because truth be told, I live with this every day. Now, I don't live with, I want to kill myself every day. No. But I live with the depression where it's real easy for me to slide back into that. And some days are better than others. Some days I really struggle, but thankfully those are few and far between compared to, how it was last year when I was like, there's no hope left. Why am I still alive? Let's just end it all. And depression really lies to you. It really does. Because it will take any little innocuous thing and blow it up into this big, big thing. Like for the longest time, my brain had itself convinced that I destroyed my relationship with Mr. Johnson over here.
I remember that phase.
And that's because my brain was taking just these little things that meant nothing. He really meant nothing behind anything.
Yeah.
But my brain just, but my brain just took it to a whole other level, saying, "Oh, because he said this, that means he hates me." And da 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 da.
No, I know exactly. I know exactly that thought process. I think that kind of happens with anybody.
Yeah.
Now your brain. Yes,
yeah, it happens with everybody, right?
But your brain is going to automatically increase the extreme of it.
But it doesn't. Okay, so like when he says something that maybe pisses you off, or maybe you misinterpret, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just get maybe a little irritated. Okay. Okay, greatly irritated.
Yes, there you go.
Okay, it was where like he would say, "Oh, I'm busy." My brain immediately like took it through all these levels of extremeness, and I'd end up on the floor crying.
There are times where.
So I mean.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't say it's even close to that, but there were times where we were going through a rough spot, and he'd be like, "I'll talk to you later," or "He's busy" or something, and I just had that feeling that he was trying to ignore me.
Yeah.
Like, he just didn't care to have a connection.
Take a hike.
But yeah, but no, like I said, well, like you said, there's no way for anybody who hasn't gone through it to grasp it. And for most people, they stumble into what I would call an occasional depressing day.
Oh yeah,
But now
that happens.
the thought of having an occasional depressing day, every day, all day, and the extreme of that being increased, I can't comprehend that. And I don't want to comprehend that. But at the same time, I wish I could comprehend that. But it was interesting, and it always keeps coming back to my head, just going off of this for everybody who's listening. The speaker from La Crosse and Amy's quick notes. And one of the things that she typed up, I still haven't read it, but it said, "You don't want to have a story."
Right.
And, part of me wants to have it so I can help other people. But at the same time, you don't want that story. You don't want to carry that extra baggage.
Yeah.
So that's something I always keep telling myself. But yeah, no, I can't imagine it. I keep learning more as we all have our what's his? How do we phrase his name?
I don't know.
Our something friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
That sounds bad. It's not something friend, guys.
He's a mutual friend.
Mutual friend. All right. Yeah, we got him. Who's they were all seeing different things.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
You can't. It's almost. I would say it should be frowned upon to say suck it up to a buttercup to somebody who physically can't control something. But that's, I think, also the other hard thing when it comes to mental illnesses is because when you watch other people go through these mental illnesses, what is it is actually out of their control and what is it that's in their control?
Yeah. Right. So one of the things, because you were saying, sometimes people have like a depressive day or whatever, So a depressive disorder is characterized by at least 2 weeks or more of that continuously. So having
a depressive day isn't really even
abnormal.
Close.
A depressive day, everyone has those. That's an everyday thing. That's as much as that sucks, anyone can have that and still be technically mentally healthy. And we all have those. We have those days where, for whatever reason, we wake up and we are either irritable or we just think the world's out to get us, or whatever. So major depressive episode disorder and that is characterized by at least 2 weeks or more. That's when medical intervention normally starts, getting involved. And usually what they try to do, unless you're suicidal, is they try to do like therapy first. Because sometimes with therapy you can, not everyone is just necessarily a chemical imbalance.
I think a lot of times somebody just needs to talk. I think the fact of the weight of life can be a very big burden on one person's shoulder, and even if biblically it says that Christians are supposed to lean on one another and express their feelings and share things with one another, and Lord to take the lift off their shoulders because we're not meant to bear the weight of the world.
Yep,
alone. So
yeah, and I remember those weeks right before I went into the hospital. Like I was going to work, but I was barely doing anything, if I'm being honest, because I couldn't concentrate. Like I couldn't think, period. Like because my brain was just so wrapped up in everything else that was going on. I wasn't sleeping, so I would maybe go to sleep at 2 a.m., wake up at 5 or 6 a.m. That's not a ton of sleep, just because I couldn't fall asleep. And then if I did get asleep, I couldn't stay asleep. So that doesn't help. Because what happens when you're tired? Your brain just starts going crazy.
Yeah, it does.
And if you do that once in a while, that's fine. But if you're doing that for weeks on end,
it was over vacation. My mom, you guys know, my mom's had diabetes for years. She's got a lot of nerve damage and stuff. She's on medication that helps her fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
It's not working anymore.
Mm.
One of the days, she did not fall asleep at all. She stayed awake all night, laying in bed, moving from the bed to the couch, doing things around the house that we were staying at to try to find some way to put her mind to work and put it back to sleep.
Right.
Kind of. And she couldn't. And it was really interesting is she did the same thing the next day, and she slept all the way through the night. So it's just something I just wanted to add it in. It was really interesting to see. It was unfortunately it's a reality for her because it does impede on some things that she can do. But yeah, watching the body and chemical imbalances go into play, and it's
and this is almost kind of it's weird because the first thing they do is they prescribe it usually an antidepressant if you're depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But some antidepressants can make you more suicidal.
Which makes no sense.
Because you're playing with the chemistry of the brain. It's just
and there's no set formula. Well, there is a set formula.
No, but because there's different methods and there might be different chemicals involved. So that's where I was going with it. Is there's like a set formula, like all right, so this pill does this. We just got to mess with the dosage. Right, but
what I'm saying is each human is unique to the point to where you can't use the set formula.
Right, but like for me, it's the serotonin deficiency. For someone else, it might be a different chemical in the brain.
Yeah,
it might not even be serotonin. So there's even that difference, which is weird. And then what's funny? Well, I shouldn't say funny. The younger you go, so like teens and young adults up to like 25, their risk for suicide or another major depressive episode due to their antidepressants is great. Like that's why like you see as one of the side effects of antidepressants, especially when you're younger, is suicide. And that sucks that it's like that. But again, it's messing with your brain chemicals and
correct me if I'm wrong. Serotonin is the thing that makes you feel good.
It's one of the components. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so my brain, my body was not producing enough.
Okay.
So I take serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which basically keeps my body from reabsorbing it. So that way, all the serotonin my body produces, it just continuously produces more, and it's not absorbing the older stuff. So that way, it gets my levels kind of up to a normal person's level.
Your body was absorbing the old level,
Well,
serotonin.
My body wasn't producing enough.
Okay, because it was absorbing it before your body could use it? Or in a sense?
Yeah. Everyone's body absorbs it, right? This just keeps me from reabsorbing it. And so depression, or not depression, suicide, that's the 8th leading cause of death in the U.S.
What's
8th? Okay.
What's number 1?
I don't have that up in front of me right now. But, okay, so if that's the 8th, now it says it's elevated during the first 2 phases of treatment, which is the first 6 months of treatment. So that first 6 months of treatment, you are at a greater risk of suicide which is crazy. And then there are factors that increase that even more. If you're greater than 45 years of age, if you're male, you have a higher chance of suicide. History of suicide or self-injury behavior, family history of suicide, loss, poor health. If you have a detailed plan, I didn't have so much a detailed plan. I just had a plan. I was going to go take every pill in my cabinet. I think that was detailed enough, but
yeah,
But
if you have a detailed plan,
that increases your chance. Inability to accept help, lack of social support, psychotic. If you have auditory or visual hallucinations, I didn't have any of that.
I think, and kind of like one thing you said right there, I think it's a big thing is social acceptance, being able to come out about an issue. It's weird. We expect everybody to be perfect, but we can't even come close when we shun somebody for coming out to try to improve themselves.
Right.
And it's the one thing that just kind of the hypocrisy of society.
Well, some of that, and some of that, I think, is when that happens. And again, I'm going back to what Aaron did and I'm not bashing Aaron you at all with this, man.
He's bashing you.
No, I'm not. I'm seriously not. But when I told Aaron I needed help, he didn't know what to do.
No.
He was young enough where he was like, I don't know what I am to do.
I just know how to hit this button on the controller.
And so I don't blame him for that. How many, like, if you had one of the youth group kids come up to you right now that, you had no idea what's going through this, and they're like, I want to just end my life. You know, what's
My eyes would get big. I looked at them and I go, Paul!
You know, that's the thing. You know, the first reaction is we don't know what to. A lot of people don't know what to do, and that's either because they're maybe a little scared of and saying the wrong thing, you know, to that person.
I'll be honest. I've always been nervous when you have special needs kids come around. I always get a little nervous because I don't know how to handle it. Because I've seen special needs kids and I've seen people work with them, and I've seen these people when they look at these kids, it's like, boom, like this person sees this kid and just takes it as their own kid. You know, I mean, what do? They get paid to work with these kids.
Yeah.
And you know how they see it? They get paid to work with their own kid. And so me, it's like, I just don't know. Some people just have that natural, you know, they reach their arm across the table and it's just natural for them. For me, it's like, I don't, like, okay, how do I hold my hand out? You know? And it's to me, it's like, well, yeah, uneducated.
Clearly, you're uneducated.
Hey,
I'm worse.
Who's been talking here?
But yeah, so we don't necessarily know how to deal with that, and you know, I think it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I keep seeing everywhere. Oh, if you want to harm yourself, you know, call this number, call this. That's great. I'm glad we're getting that message out. Okay. But we're not providing any training to people as well about if someone says this or you think they're going to hurt themselves, what do you do? You know?
Yeah.
I would be more inclined to go to somebody that I trust and know versus call a random person.
Yeah.
I would be. Now, there might be some other people who would feel like they can't go to anybody.
So you got to remember one thing. When you're in that mindset, you're not thinking rationally.
Oh.
The last person you want to know this about you is someone you know. The last people that you want to ever find out about is people you know. At least for me, you know, it would have been easier for me to pick up the phone and talk to a stranger than to talk to anyone that I knew
because of the anonymous aspect of it.
Yeah, there
makes sense.
There was no necessary follow up. There was no shame because they didn't know who I was. You know, and where my mind was thinking was, okay, if I told like you or Aaron or Andy or Pastor Dave or whatever, and what would they then think of me every time I saw them? That's what was going through my head. Again, it wasn't the truth, but that's what was going through my head.
The hardest thing is always taking the first step.
Yep.
Even with addiction, you know, with pornography or drugs, you're taking that first step and going towards somebody that you know.
Yeah.
That's always the hardest thing because that's the only way. And
see what I'll say is different between those two, between pornography and drugs and depression.
Mm-hmm.
Pornography, drugs, you may say, oh, it's not really an issue, whatever. But if you're like, oh, I want to get better, you know, you go to someone. Depression, it has you in your mind so much that even the concept of going to someone to talk to them about this, it just scares you to death. Because why would they even care?
If you don't care about yourself, why should they care about you?
Why am I taking that person? Why am I taking Aaron's time? Why am I bugging him? Why would he care about what is going on in my head? I'm just wasting his time. I'm being a bother to him. I am just being annoying to him. That's what goes through the head. What?
Yeah. No. I don't know.
Your turn to kill him, buddy.
I don't know. I feel like I'm different, I guess.
Well, that I hope, like I said, I hope you never get where I was at.
Well, I'm just saying if I were, I don't know, when I've had my moments, I didn't know if it was 2 weeks or longer I don't know, what were you saying about?
Oh, that time where you were...
time frame?
Yeah, you were real
2 weeks?
Down.
That doesn't seem like a lot, but I don't know. I feel like
I think it's something. I think they say 2 weeks because at that point it's something to look into.
Right.
Might not be necessarily something that's bad, but I mean, if you have a lot of bad crap happening to you, there's a chance that you're going to be down for about 2 weeks. And I think at that point it's just something to look into. Hopefully something don't train yourself into.
But there's the crutch words.
Go on.
Gosh dang it. When I was in I guess, whenever I was in like a down time, I would much rather talk to one of you guys in that moment than a stranger.
And here's where I think it's changed. Because over time, we've all come out about things.
Yeah.
And it's stuff that I've told you guys about me.
Right.
I was on your floor crying in front of you one night.
I felt so bad. Man, I thought you were joking the whole... I thought you were trying to, like, make me, like, get all emotional and feel bad because I'm not sharing anything with you. I'm just like, oh, great, he's acting. And then I'm like, oh, wait.
He's not.
He's serious right now.
Yeah.
I remember
that made me feel so bad.
At that point, I was like, I need to tell him this regardless of what happens. And I think we have gotten to the point where we have crossed that line of the fear of what the other person's going to think, that it's become easier for us. I mean, that's I'm not saying, just kind of speaking in general here right now. But, from the things I've told you, from the things I've told Paul, from the things I've told you both, I mean, everything ends up coming out triangle from what we tell each other. It's just, to me, it's become a little bit easier because it's like I've expressed so much dirt. What other dirt right now is there that is going to keep you guys from, wanting to hang out with me?
Yeah.
Paul, I took all the money in your bank account, by the way.
Okay, cool.
See?
Okay, cool.
Because I know how to get it back.
Yeah. I put a wire transfer from Aaron's to your account, so.
Okay.
What?
Anyway, but anyways, Aaron was saying you because
I would rather talk to one of you guys than talk to a stranger. I'm always more afraid to tell a stranger about anything that I'm struggling with or anything that's personal, because I don't know how they would act. Like, for you guys, I might tell myself that you guys would react in a certain way and be like, oh, you freaking idiot.
Aaron, you're stupid.
Yeah.
But we still love your stupidness.
Yeah.
But, man, that's where I was getting at, is we've kind of come over the hump of, that initial fear of telling each other stuff.
And even if I had that fear, I would rather talk to you guys about it.
And that's where...
Than a stranger. Because if it came from a stranger, I guess I wouldn't expect anything good.
And for me, I'd say, and this is where I'm saying, and like you said, we don't know because we have not been in your shoes.
Not to that extent.
Our thought process might be a little different in that point. But like you were saying, you'd rather talk to us. Me, if I'm not close to somebody, I care about what the heck they think about me.
You do?
I do. So like people at work, work is a little bit different than some random person on the side of the street. But if there's any chance that I could have a reconnection with that person, I don't want them to think badly about me. I don't want to tell them anything bad about me, because I know, okay, this is going to, for all you listening, people who are not a follower of Christ, like a true follower of Christ, okay, they tend to hold your past against you. And I mean, even true followers of Christ can do the same thing, but it's much easier to work with a true follower of Christ. And that's a whole nother series we can get into. There's a book out there called Being a Fan or Follower, and kind of help you guys understand that more. But somebody on the street is going to hold something over my head much more than one of the guys in the room. At the same time, the guys in the room with me right now, I've told them a whole lot of crap, a whole lot of dirt, a lot of stuff that will probably never be heard by anybody. But that's just the situation of it. These guys, I know I can tell them, and they might have a little lip leak here and there, but it's,
yeah, it depends on how.
Like I was saying, we've said enough to each other. What else could we say that tells us?
And see, and again, this is just that whole different mindset. So when I told Aaron, yes, I need help. Okay,
yes.
So I'm backing up to the story here. Back when that happened on Xbox chat. And he went to Andy. I could have gone to Andy at any time because Andy has been through this before. But guess what? I never could bring myself to do it.
Why is that?
Again, it was that stupidness in the brain where it's going, I can't tell Andy this. I can't tell him this, where I'm at. I can't. What is he going to think of me? Why? He's going to think I'm a horrible person. He's going to think I'm a horrible Christian. He's going to think I'm not praying enough. That's what was going through my brain. Your brain does not think logically. It's almost like there's this fight that was going on in my head. The emotional side and the logical side. The logical side knew what to do, what was right.
Yes.
The emotional side, though, was far more powerful because it was being powered by fear. And it was overriding that logical part of my brain the entire time. Logically, I knew how Andy was going to react. Emotionally, I didn't. Even though logically, I knew Andy's been through this. Emotionally, I felt I was going to be rejected or whatever. And just that shame of maybe even saying it. Saying those words, I need help, was the hardest phrase I ever had to say. It took me a good while on Xbox chat to even say that. Because I think I said something like, I need to tell you something or something like that. And it just took me forever until I was just like, I just got to force out those words. Those are words that just don't come out, you know. And Andy, I'm grateful for what he did, but obviously he didn't know exactly what to do either. You know, he had kind of an idea, but he had a better idea. And he's like, okay, let's get these resources in place. Let's get these things in place. You know, he got Pastor Dave involved.
Mm-hmm.
And Pastor Dave was like, well, let me make some calls. So he made some calls, got me into the hospital. I went, got my treatment, and I had my Nurse Sarah story. Mm-hmm. I know I told you about Nurse Sarah.
I remember Nurse Sarah.
Yeah. So for Nurse Sarah, it was, so I was just admitted to the hospital. I was just shown my room where there's no like corners or there's no hard corners anywhere. The door handles are cones, so that way you can't like hang a tie or anything. I had to take the shoelaces out of my shoes. You know, I
kind of what the movie depicts.
What movie?
The movies.
Oh, I haven't watched a ton of movies, but I had no shoelaces. I couldn't have a belt. The shorts I had to have the drawstrings cut out. The door handles were all cones, so that way you couldn't tie anything around them. The beds were kind of like, they weren't even nailed together. They're like a solid piece of wood, so you couldn't like disassemble them and use a piece to hurt yourself or anything. They did room checks every 15 minutes. Every 15 minutes, they were opening up your door, making sure you know if you were in the room, if you were okay and everything. There was no door to the bathroom. The piping for the toilets was behind a box to secure them, so you couldn't hurt yourself that way. The sinks, you had to like hold it down to get some water out, but then again, there was no sharp or hard edges anywhere. The knobs for the shower were again cones that you had little grips on to turn. You know, it was all designed so you couldn't hurt yourself in that room. You know, I couldn't even have a pen or pencil until I got approval.
What'd you use?
I finally got approval to use a pen or pencil, but I couldn't use one until.
What about a crayon? Can you use a crayon?
I could use one in the community room when it was open.
But you can use one in your room.
Right.
I guess you can still hurt yourself with a crayon.
So, you know, I had to get permission to do that. And it was, so I'm just brought in through inpatient. I'm literally rocking back and forth on the edge of my mattress because I'm like, I don't know what the heck is going on. My brain is fighting one way, saying, why am I here? The other part of my brain is going, I kind of need to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Pastor Dave drove me up, so that way I didn't not go.
You didn't do a U-turn halfway through.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm making sure you're getting there. And so, he drove me up, and I'm thankful for that. And so I get there, and the nurse walks in, and she's kind of just going through the paperwork with me. You know, all these nurses do. Okay, what's your name, birthday, da-da-da, what medications are you currently taking, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, here's the medication recommendations. I'm going to take out the antipsychotics because I don't think you're seeing unicorns right now. You know, that sort of stuff. And she notices I'm not really interacting with her. I'm just going, yeah, whatever. And just kind of rocking back and forth. And then she stops and she goes, I feel like God's told me I need to tell you something. She goes, you're not a bad Christian for having depression. And that just floored me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that I think was kind of that initial shock I needed to go through the treatment properly. Because at that point, I think my brain was still kind of trying to figure out everything that was going on. And
how'd she know you were a Christian?
She didn't. It wasn't anywhere in my paperwork.
Did your tattoo showing, necklace, or anything?
No. Because the only one that would be showing would be the music note one at the most.
You got the Chiro symbol right there.
Yeah, but so when I was sitting,
yeah,
my left side would have been facing her.
Ah.
So that's not where the tattoo is.
And that's no coincidence.
And that was the thing is she's like, I'm not supposed to be your nurse, but there's a paper mix up and I ended up being your nurse. You know, I was like,
when you initially told me the story, it sent a chill down my spine.
Yeah. And, you know, and she is on the worship team at her church, and you know, and she works at the Psychiatric Hospital, and she recently started on antidepressants as well before, you know, I got there. You know, so she's telling me this from her side as well, and that kind of eased me into a little of everything. But that was definitely one of those. Okay.
It's like that moment where suddenly all that fear, all that anxiety is just gone.
It was, you know, there was still some, but it was definitely not as bad.
Yeah.
And it could have been a lot worse. I will say that. And I'm glad it wasn't. And that definitely became a very interesting day.
Yeah.
And I will say this, and I've told our mutual friend this, post inpatient, up until now, it's the hardest I've had to work at something. Because this isn't a thing where you just go to inpatient and outpatient and take your meds. Meds is only about 20%. The rest of that, you have to work on it every day. There was a lot of things I learned in inpatient and one-on-one therapy and outpatient that I still have to mindfully put into practice daily.
Yeah.
And anyone who goes out for treatment, they have to remember this is going to be something that's just going to be every day. This isn't you go into the hospital one time deal thing. Unfortunately, it's a daily mental discipline. But I mean, you know, now I'm on the other side. It's been about a year now. You know, because it was end of January when I went into the hospital last year. So now it's been a year and a couple months here now, and things are on the up right now. Now that being said, in about 8 years, I'm probably going to have a bad time again. And the reason I say that is typically these meds only are effective for about 10 years.
And then your body adapts to it.
Yep. And then I got to switch to another med. But in order for me to switch to another med, most of the time I have to come off this med. And talking with Andy, he had bad withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, I think it takes about 90 days from the day you stop taking some sort of through the mouth medication for it to be out of your system to the point where it's not affecting you anymore.
Yeah, and where it takes like 6 weeks to become fully effective to begin with, which, by the way, really sucks. When you're trying to get better and you're like, well, this is only partially effective, and that partially effective, I can't sit still and fall asleep.
Yeah.
You know, and so I'm like, well, what's this going to be when it's fully effective at 6 weeks? But yeah, so I'll have to go probably about 8 years through withdrawal symptoms to get off this current med and go on to a new med.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be fun. Because during that time, guess what? I'm probably going to be a mental wreck.
But you got Aaron and I. Maybe. Actually, you probably will have to be taking medication just for being friends with us.
Right. For real. You don't know if we'll be here in 8 to 10 years.
Well,
you don't know that.
If AOC's prediction is right, the Earth will end in 10 years. So.
Well, there's that.
Yeah, that's what they said back in 2012. That's what they said back in 2000?
We're not going to talk about that right now. That year goal keeps changing depending on what candidate and what politician decides it. It's a different year every time.
What country's building what? And
yep. So and this is a song Aaron probably knows. I'm not going to play it obviously because that would be a copyright strike. And the podcast host would not allow me to be able to do that. So what this is some lyrics I shared with Andy, and this, honestly, I said, this is kind of what is going through my head at this time. You know, as me and him were sitting like at a Panera. What's it?
What's a Panera?
No, it was at Potbelly's. We were sitting at Potbelly's. He took me to lunch.
Wait,
Andy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, you know, this was that Sunday after you said, hey, you need to talk with Paul. This is that Sunday after. So he took me to lunch at Potbelly, and he was trying to get what was going through my head at that time. This is obviously before I went to the hospital, and I pulled up the lyrics to the song, And I said, this is what's going through my head right now.
Oh.
What are you going oh for?
10th Avenue North.
No.
Ooh, what is it?
Maybe when you recognize the lyrics, you'll recognize this. I said, you might recognize them.
Yeah.
Because we've seen them in concert together. The lyrics, wonder what I've got, under doubt more than not. Wonder why I can't amend my constitution. Wonder who I am, becoming a bad person. Wonder if I can find a good solution. Have I effed up my head with all the books that I read? Was I too hungry for the truth to find you? Wonder why I've lost my wonder, why the ship is going under. Wonder why I've lost all my wonder, why the night has got my number. Wonder why the wonder has died in me. Do you know who that is?
Jeez. I mean, I'm going to guess Classic Crime.
Yep. Take a guess what the name of the song is called.
Wonder.
You're correct. It's off of How to Be Human.
Now, which one is that, though? Is that the most recent
Yep,
one?
that's the most recent one that has like the...
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah. And,
No, yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Only in America, only in Wisconsin does that mean yes.
Yeah.
So, and I gave that to him, and I was like, this is pretty much what is in my head.
Right.
It was this part here that really caught my attention, this chorus too. And I've seen good people die while I've been barely alive, and I can't live another minute if I'm in it just to live a lie.
Oh, wow.
And, and that's where I kind of was feeling at in my head at that time. I was like, I'm barely here. I'm going to work and barely doing anything. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't do anything. It would have been better if I would have stayed at home, but then I wouldn't have had. Then I would have had to take a PTO day and.
Right.
Yeah.
All adds up.
Yeah. So it was just like, and I remember, during that week, Andy the entire time was just kind of pinging me through the day. He's like, hey, how's it going? How's it going? What's going on? Da, da, da. And I was done. I was like, you know what? Right now, it sucks. I cannot do this. And
it's going to be blunt about it.
Yeah. And it thankfully, that state of being was only about a week before went into El Hospital. Yeah. So, I mean,
I was going to say, talk about this earlier.
Yeah.
But I guess for me, the whole, I definitely wouldn't say I have any mental problems, I guess. I mean, granted, I think for the longest period of time, I feel like I've been in I don't know, I always described it as like a slump or just downtime.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I've probably hit the 2 week, maybe a little more mark.
Okay.
I guess the hard part is saying if it consistently down like throughout the 2 weeks.
Yeah, and most people will have like a week or so where they're just having a bad week, and that.
Oh well, no, yeah, there's that, but like I don't know. Oh,
what
was it? I think for me, it's not. At times I feel like I guess this is the more recent times when I was in the spot.
Okay.
From what I've told you guys before, but for me, I would rather take myself out, and out of the world or whatever, so that whatever I have, I can disperse to my friends, and I feel like that would be a better way of me
exiting.
Well, but I feel like I would do more help to people by
letting me have your motorcycle? Yes, just you would.
Okay, all right. Well, you just answered my question then. But like, I would rather. Gosh, this sounds weird. I guess I would rather kill myself and give all I can to anybody that I know. Well, to help them out, and I feel like that would do better than anything I could do while I'm here. Because I guess like for me, I get so scared to try and help out. Like if I know something's wrong with somebody, I want to help, but then I'm like, well, what if I do this and it just backfires, or I seem like, I don't know, just some either freaky person or something bad, where everything just goes south and I screw everything up and then I make it worse. So I feel like anything that I would try to do, I always assume it's going to end terrible, as opposed if I don't help out and let somebody else help out and make sure it goes well.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yep. So 2 parts on that.
Uh-oh.
Part 1, imposter syndrome.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So,
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's part 1.
I do remember this. Yeah.
Part 2, and this is kind of the important part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the important part?
That's your that's what I call the stupid brain kicking in.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, they'll be better off without me because someone else can handle it then.
Yeah.
They'll be better off without me because now they have my resources and my money and I'm no longer a problem for them. So it's imposter syndrome with stupid brain.
Yeah.
And that stupid brain, that is the biggest lie my brain has ever tried to tell me from that depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this, it's not true. We need you, sir, more than we need your money or your bike.
Anything that I can give.
We need you.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
if I weren't here, then no.
But besides you giving up all of your material possessions, because that's what you're talking about. You're saying that material possessions will help us.
Yeah.
What about the people that are homeless? They still bring joy to people on the streets. They don't care about all the material possessions. They just want to play the guitar or their dog, does tricks or something. So, I mean, it's like, no, seriously, they just like being with people. They don't care about material possessions. So, and also speaking from a religious perspective too, what'd you come into the world with?
And
well, he meant nothing. Your birthday suit.
Okay. You came into the world with nothing. Your mom did not pop a Harley Superglide out from between her legs with you. So,
ouch.
That's not going with you, even though especially if you don't have it anymore.
Oh, man.
But anyways,
wow,
you're leaving. So your material possessions aren't going to help us any more than you.
No, yeah.
So you're going to help us better than your material possessions.
And I'd say that for anyone listening as well. If you're at that point where it's like, well, I'm being a bother to someone, it'd be better off for them. They'd be happier if I was gone. I'm going to tell you what, that is a lie. That is a pure lie from someone who's been there before.
And I was going to say, I would rather be on this planet with someone I absolutely despised than be alone.
Yeah.
So,
I feel you on that. No,
I mean, because we are also wired to be connected. Humans are designed to be intertwined with different people, being social, and so especially when you put yourself in an isolation situation, you're more prone for things to come up. Just wouldn't be as fun,
right,
or as enjoyable. But
also, for me personally, I would say, a big part of any, I guess, slump I get into, for me, I think it has to do more with a spiritual, battle more than anything.
Slump?
Yeah, because I know, I guess, I don't know.
No, that does impact it. That is a factor.
No, yeah, it does. I'm trying to think, because there'll be times like recently I've been listening to those sermons by that guy a lot, by the pastor a lot.
Those sermons by that guy, by that pastor.
Pastor Sean.
No.
Shane?
What's the name of the church?
Shane.
First Free Church?
First Free, yeah.
Of La Crosse, Wisconsin?
Well, yeah, on Alaska.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so that way people aren't like, who? What?
Who is this guy? Huh?
Okay, go on.
Like, no, as I've been listening to it, it's, I guess, as I spend more time either in the Word and spending more time worshiping and, talking with God in prayer and just anything, interacting with Him and learning, just the better I honestly do feel. And then, I'll get to a point where I guess I will start getting the things that, that would be bad or, just not of God, sinning, and but the fun, I guess, when drinking, going out with, a few people and stuff like that, I'd be like, oh, probably, a couple times where it's like, you want to keep going, have fun, and enjoy the alcohol and what it can do. So then I'll start to get into this mindset where I want to just enjoy life, party it up, and do what I want. But then as soon as I start to get down on that route, the more and more crappy I personally start to feel.
Yeah.
and then something happens. I get smacked up on the head, or the holy 2x4 comes in and says, "Hey, knock it off." And then I'm just like, "Wait a minute, and then kind of go back on the other route. It's just not wanting to go back and forth as much. I want to be, more.
And I have the
consistent.
same feeling, is that spiritual up and down, and just that alone is draining, because it's like you get here, you get on this high, and then you're back down on the valley, and it's like now you got to climb that mountain again.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, why can't you just stay? Like, why can't you jump off the peak and fly to the next peak? Because there are people out there that literally, that's what it looks like. They can fly
like
from peak to peak.
That's
to peak.
what it looks like. You don't know what's really going on in their own personal life. And I'll say this, there is a lot of, this thing where it is related to, maybe some, like you were saying, like the spiritual battle, spiritual life stuff, and that happening. And that's going to be true, and this sounds horrible, but I'll say it this way because it makes the most sense. I hope that's the case for you, where that it's only related to that.
Right.
And where that's kind of like your wake up call to say, hey, you're doing something, no, bad, Johnson, and get you back in the right place, and then your brain kind of realigns. It sounds bad in that I'm saying I want you to have that negative
I want you
feedback.
to go through that horrible thing.
But I'm glad also at the same time, because then if that's able to correct itself without medication therapy, and that, it is so much more nicer than,
Oh, no, having to go through all of that.
And don't get me wrong, I don't regret going through any of it. At first, yes. At
hard.
first, yes, it was like, it was almost like shameful at first, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. I can see that. And I mean, that would be the one thing that I guess I would stop me from telling you guys about anything that's going wrong. I don't want to admit I'm doing stuff wrong, but I guess I wouldn't say for me it's not the whole shameful part of it. It's just like I don't want them to think that something's going on with me. I'm fine. I got it all together. No, obviously.
So
you all know better that I don't have it all together.
So the pride thing, that is what you're saying.
For me, it would be more pride than shame.
But
depending on what the thing was.
They're two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why it's like, when I was saying, when I said the shame thing, that's also part of the pride thing.
Yeah.
So that's what I said. Two sides of the same coin, same thing. And
same but different.
Exactly. That's just what it is. So, any other thoughts from either of you two? Yes. Okay. What are your thoughts?
I don't know. We already kind of talked about it, but it was the whole, I guess, drawing the line of where does someone actually have a mental illness, or they just kind of, because I feel like so many people now, it happens more where people are like, oh, I have depression, or
they milk the system.
Yeah. And I feel like it's become something that's more, and because when you say there's people that are like, what did you say? Where they're just saying "suck it up, buttercup" kind of thing.
Yeah.
What was that? I don't remember the word you used to say that. Anywho, but there's more people that are, when they hear about these people, they're just like, I'm going through this, that, and that, and just like suck it up. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I see a lot more people are sympathetic to people's situation.
Now, don't get me wrong.
But this is just what I've seen. I haven't gone out to look and see how people react, or how the majority of people react to those kinds of situations. That's just stuff I see, but that's also with the people that I know, and I know majority of the people I know wouldn't be like, "Oh, get over yourself, move on."
Yeah, and like I will be very sympathetic towards someone, especially having gone through this stuff and going through this stuff.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not it gets to a point where, yes, you're kind of living with something, but it's not a self-diagnosed thing. At some point, you have to go to a doctor and
have it checked out,
which sucks, because that again means you have to go to a doctor and admit to someone that you're going through something, and that sucks.
And I guess I wish people wouldn't, for the people that would, I guess, make you feel bad for something like that you're going through. That is really frustrating.
Yeah.
Because it's like, why? I don't know. Why would you not want to help somebody feel better than just to tell them to,
Because
bite the bullet, get over it,
mm-hmm.
you weak person. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just don't understand why you would want to make somebody feel even worse about what's going on.
And I will say this: there is a point where, like, even if after someone's been diagnosed, where if they're either milking it, they're going through treatment, they're getting meds, and either they're milking it or they're not working on themselves to get better. There is a point where you go, okay, you need to suck it up, buttercup.
Make the effort and
you need to make the effort. You need to put in the work.
Yeah.
You can't rely just on the meds. If you're relying just on the meds to feel better,
it's not going to happen.
You're going to keep maxing out your medication list, and then you're done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. So that's my last thing.
Josh? Nothing?
No.
Okay. So what I'll say, and this was also on the pre-roll before the episode, so you would have heard this already. If this is something, suicidal, depressed, anything like that, reach out. And it sucks to reach out. It really does. It is hard. It is hard. If there's someone you trust that you can, reach out to them. If you're more comfortable reaching out to anonymous people, suicidepreventionlifeline.org. The number there is 1-800-273-8255. They also have, for the millennial type people, an online chat service. So you can call or you can chat. You can chat with them online.
Wow.
So if you would rather chat with someone anonymously, you don't even have to give your name, and just chat with them online. And then, like, if you're like, okay, I'm done, I'm no longer comfortable with this, and you can just close out whatever, you can do that. But and I recommend this for you too as well. Okay, no, listen. What I'm recommending to you. On the website, so again, suicidepreventionlifeline.org, they have training, basic training, on what you can do
to interact.
If someone says, hey, I'm suicidal, hey, I'm depressed. It obviously it's not giving you a medical degree in this, but it's giving you the proper tools on how to direct that person.
Yeah, that's smart.
Fair, yeah.
It's because the reality is, you're probably going to know someone else in your life who's going to be going through this. That's true for you guys here in the room. That's true for you listening. You might have family members. You might have friends, coworkers, and they might be hiding it really well right now. But if you see some weird behavior, like me, before I went to hospital, what did I start doing before I went to the hospital? I started drinking a whole lot more. It even got to the point where Larissa, she was like, what is going on? You are drinking way too much.
I've never heard her say that. I've never heard her say that.
Because I was drinking beyond how I normally drink. Like I was having a shot, a beer. Like I was just drinking way more than normal. It was out of character for me.
Yeah.
It was out of character enough where she noticed it.
Good bartender.
It's the same, like if you all of a sudden do the same thing, it's like, oh, this is out of character for you. What's going on? And it might be that you just had a really bad day and you're just like, I'm done. I just want
that extra drink.
Right. But
that's already a given for Aaron.
Shut up. But I'm trying to be good.
And you are.
He is.
So far.
But this wasn't, this was a pattern that she was saying. She's like, okay, there's been this uptake in alcohol. So, sometimes it's simple things like that just pay attention for. Like if you have a coworker you go out to drink with and they normally have like 1 or 2 drinks and all of a sudden they're like having 5 to 10 drinks, something's going on, And of course they might not want to talk about it. Sometimes all you need to be there is just be a person to be there. Let them know that you care.
That is a big.
That's a very big thing. It's important because the only way that someone's going to get over this is with people. People who tried to get better alone and do not have any support at all outside of the doctors, more than likely they're going to end up back in the hospital. More than likely their symptoms are going to get worse, and there's a good chance that they will kill themselves.
Yeah.
So support, social support, it's very important. And I'm thankful every day for you guys. You, Aaron, you, Mr. Brewer, Andy, Heather, Pastor Dave. You guys have, this Andy and Heather, that first weekend after I got back, I was released with the understanding that I would spend time with people the entire time and not be alone.
Yeah.
Until I started inpatient.
Mm-hmm.
So, I did that, and Andy and Heather just had me there for the entire weekend, And it was funny talking with Andy later on. He's like, yeah, we noticed that you were, like, your leg was just always shaking and going. He's like, you were never sitting still that entire weekend. I was like, yeah, I was getting used to my new meds,
Mm-hmm.
And we went to, like, a hockey game with his kid.
Yeah.
And
I remember you telling me about that.
And I, like, had a panic attack.
Yeah.
When I got there, because it was the first time I'd been around people, and I was literally having a panic attack trying to just calm myself down. It was not fun.
Nuts. It is crazy.
No. So, again, that's suicidepreventionlifeline.org, 1-800-273-8255. Chat or phone call. It's free, confidential, 24/7. So, and hopefully neither of you two ever need it. Hopefully I don't ever need it again, but it's there. It is. So, final chance. Anything else, guys?
I'm good.
All right. Brewer, you're good too?
I am good.
All right. Well, in that case.